Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Darcy Rowe from Tardis Talks here, back with my co-host, Mr. Josh Rimmer.
Hello, everybody.
And we are here to discuss the latest Flux episode, The Vanquishers, the last Flux episode before the Christmas New Year's special. And I'm going to kick it off by saying it left me wanting more, but it also left me a little unsatisfied.
I feel the exact same, Darcy. Like, I have very mixed opinions about it. Like, Sontarans, as usual, very fun, very nice. I like the idea they actually made them smart for once. They actually had tactics. They wasn't just, let's blow everything up. Or they actually thought something through and they made an interesting idea, and I really like that. Daleks and Cybermen were as cameo appearance-y as ever, but, you know, at least they were there.
Yeah, I mean, you were half right about them, battling. They did something even cooler. The Sontarans formed an alliance and then just left them all to die, which is it's a little annoying because for the Daleks and the Cybermen, we got, 10-second snapshots of them of screen time for them.
Honestly, I didn't even see the point in either of them. They've both had pretty extensive appearances in the past two series. Like, the Daleks had a whole episode dedicated to them, and they're going to have another episode dedicated to them later. And the Cybermen had two, arcs almost. Was it the end of last series?
They had the end of last series. They had, a little arc there. But, I liked what the Sontarans were doing. Yeah. Because they didn't just pour in like any old boring army. So loved the part where the Sontaran is in the shop and then everyone leaves and he starts stuffing his face with chocolate. That was so funny. Literally, I was hopping on my couch laughing. I mean, Chibnall's comedic attempts can fail or they can succeed, and that was one that was the middle ground, but because it was a dumpy potato head, that made it funny.
I think his greatest successes with comedy have always been with the Sontarans, especially in this series. Because Sontarans are one of those races where they can be a bit silly and also kind of scary at the same time. So nice times. You can't really do that with any other Doctor Who race without it just being kind of stupid. Like, imagine if they made Weeping Angel jokes. That would be terrible.
Yeah, they can do that with the Daleks sometimes and Cybermen if treated very carefully. If you take it over the top, it's just going to blow the entire thing.
But Sontarans, you can just do it.
For this episode, there was still a lot of loose ends.
Yeah.
I did like how it had the previously merging right into the now, but oh my god, the Doctor just ran. I mean, it wasn't like that Ex Machina platter that the Doctor had in episode 3 or episode 4, where she literally just calculates everything and then runs out. She realizes she can't get away this time because she's stuck between two galaxies on board a ship with an and two creepy skull faces.
Yeah, the whole, split through between galaxies, into 3. Cool concept. And I'm just kind of disappointed it was only for one episode, and they're probably not going to do it again. Imagine this, but again, they make it like an arc where the Doctor has to try and fuck. That could have been such a cool ending. Halfway through the series, right? She gets her stuff split, and she has to become whole again and finding her past. That could have finished her whole arc and stuff. But,
that would have been cool. I like the inclusion. We didn't talk about the Fob Watch last episode. I did like the inclusion of it. It's the first time we've seen a Time Lord Fob Watch since Utopia, I think, and just seeing it again, and of course the improved special effects. But what was the point? What was the house again?
The house, from what I could tell, was all. It was like a representation of all the Doctor's memories for some reason, and not really any. It was very poorly explained by Swan. It was this is everything. I don't know. It was very vague, but from what I could tell, it was all her memories has ever existed.
Some of the loose ends were tied up. I did like the fact that the Doctor was split into 3 realities. That was kind of cool. I like how she sort of just complimented herself. Like, I've got a massive crush on her. That's just so sassy. That's sort of where Jodie Whittaker really shines, because she is quite funny.
When she's allowed to be funny, she's really good at it.
When she's, like, I think with the writing, sometimes the writing and the complimentary acting, she overplays some of the moods too much. Just a tiny, tiny bit. I mean, not really, but when she's allowed to sort of just relax and be herself in the character, that really works well.
So, see, the major thing that really bothered me about this episode was the ending and how they handled everything ending. Okay, so let's go through it, right? So Swarm has basically failed. The Flux just didn't pan out how he wanted. The Sontarans entirely killed. Rest in peace, Potato Boys. Oh shoot! And literally everyone else exploded, but not really everyone else. I don't know. I assume the galaxy comes back after the Flux. Otherwise, we wouldn't really have a galaxy. But I'm just going to assume the Flux reset the galaxy. Otherwise, we're just going to have 1/16 of a galaxy. It's just Earth for the rest of Doctor Who.
I did love the way that they sort of just absorbed it all into the passenger. That was really cool.
Yeah, that was a really cool use of a thing that really hasn't had a use up to this point. That was really well done. And then we get to the very end. They're like, okay, well, we kind of failed, but we're going to give you the time. Literally just time for some reason. That's just a person, a creature, ethereal being. I don't know. And it takes over the version of you if you're talking to them. I don't know. It was kind of weird. And then they were talking, and then they just killed Swarm for no reason without really completing anything. We still don't really know what his whole deal was about. He was being tracked down by the Division for some reason, and his girlfriend or something. Same thing, I'm guessing. And then the Doctor, they just pulled a David Tennant, and they just had one of the random characters say, "Your time will end soon." Ooh, you can't run forever, Doctor. I'm like, okay.
Ironically, there's not a lot to talk about this episode, because we kind of it's just, this episode was very full, but very empty at the same. It's like
it felt
half full glass. It was
it felt so hollow. It felt like there was only 4 major things that happened, and that was the Sontaran fight, and then time.
I did like Bell and Vinda reuniting. That was good. I liked the way that they handled that. But then they went off immediately and did their own thing, and I was no, they're gonna get lost again. Don't do that.
What's the whole if they're making? I have a feeling. Are they going to make it it's going to be a Jack Harkness kind of thing where they just kind of pop up every now and again, or I don't know.
I hope not, because for most of the characters for the Flux, I hope they don't reappear like most of the characters that we've just met, because I mean, Claire could reappear once or twice. I wouldn't mind that, because we still don't know what she's doing there. I have no idea what she's doing.
Oh yeah, we nearly forgot probably my favorite character through the Flux, Ulysses Jericho. He died. Why?
I like the way he sacrificed himself.
Yeah, I like it. It was really cool.
Okay, so bit of a bummer here. The last audio that me and Josh recorded got lost because I'm on holiday, so we were doing this over the phone. The last audio got lost, but we basically just wrapped up with what we thought, and we thought it was a pretty decent episode. Josh rated it a 7, while I rated it an 8, and we just discussed some things we might do in future, like a complete Flux overview and some analysis of posters and trailers for the New Year's special. On behalf of me and Josh, thank you for tuning into the first year of Tardis Talks, and we'll see you later. Geronimo.